God bless. My name is Hervey Hill. I would like to start this teaching as simply as possible by looking at God through God's eyes. The way in order we need to do that is we always have to go back to His Word in order to see God through God's eyes. And one best place that I can think of right now is in the book of Isaiah, where God explains to us, and at the time He was speaking to Jacob and Israel about who He was. And I think this is a good starting place to see who God is through God's eyes. So let's start by reading Isaiah chapter 43 and verse 8, and it reads as such: Bring forth the blind people that have eyes, and the deaf that have ears. What God is saying here is that God is telling Jacob and Israel that even those who cannot see with their physical eyes, bring them forth because they see and understand with their spiritual eyes. This verse also explains to bring the deaf who have ears, those who cannot hear physically, but in their understanding they can hear. So this verse is explaining that seeing and understanding and hearing is in the mind. It's not in our physical eyes or our physical ears. It's the understanding of a mind picture or hearing from the point of view that we can hear something that is understandable, not with our physical ears, but with our spiritual ears. To understand who and what God is, by looking at God through His eyes, we must understand that this verse is telling us to look not with our physical eyes, or to hear not with our physical ears. By backing up one verse, let's look at how God was talking to Israel and to Jacob. God said, even every one of you that is called by my name, for I have created him for my glory, I have formed him, yea, I have made him. God created man in His image and likeness. He has formed him for His glory and for His purpose. This was God's purpose, not our purpose. God made and formed us for His purpose. Let's turn to, let's stay in the same book of Isaiah, and let's go to chapter 44, verses 23. Sing, O ye heavens, for the Lord hath done it. Shout, you lower parts of the earth. Break forth into singing, you mountains. O forest and every tree therein, for the Lord hath redeemed Jacob and glorified Himself in Israel. This goes to show you the power of God and the purposes of God, and how God can even make the earth sing and utilizes the things of the earth for His glory. Now in Genesis chapter 1, it said God created the heavens and the earth. God did that, and He did it for His glory. Now let's go back to Isaiah chapter 45, verse 18. For thus saith the Lord that created the heavens, God Himself that formed the earth and made it. He hath established it. He created it not in vain. He formed it to be inhabited. I am the Lord, and there is none else. God created the heavens. God made the earth and created it and formed everything of the earth. And it was God And there is no one else, no other God, no one that created or made the earth but God himself, the one true God. God did this for his glory and for his own purposes. Let's go back to Isaiah chapter 43. Thus saith the Lord, your Redeemer, the Holy One of Israel, for your sake I have sent to Babylon and have brought down all their nobles and Chaldeans whose cry in the ships. I am the Lord, your Holy One, the Creator of Israel, your King. Whenever God has a purpose and he does something, he does that for his purpose. The reason that we are looking at God through his eyes is to see that we do not try to imagine God from our eyes. It is wrong of us to try to imagine God in any other way than how God sees himself. The purposes of God, the glory of God, are all for God's own purposes. God has created us, he has made us, he has made the earth, he has created the earth, and he has done that for his own purposes. Let's look at how God purposely brought all of us into the world except for Adam. In Isaiah chapter 44, thus saith the Lord, thy Redeemer, and he that formed thee from the womb. I am the Lord that maketh all things, that stretcheth forth the heavens alone, that spreadeth abroad the earth by myself. Notice how God emphasizes how he did this all of himself. He is the one that did it. He is the one that formed us in our mother's womb. We are who we are from a physical point of view, the way God made us and how he formed us in our mother's womb. Now, I don't have time on this video, but it is God that opens and closes the womb of a woman. You would not be born unless God opened the womb of your mother. That is how you became a being. And God then formed you in the womb of your mother. God made and created Adam. Then when man and woman come together, that does not bring forth children. That is the act by which children are brought forth. And it is also a humanly act that God has made and created in us. But through that act, God then opens up the womb of the woman, and then you as a being, a human being, are formed into the womb of that woman. So when you are brought forth into the world in the day of your birth, it was the act of God that brought you forth, not the act of a man and woman coming together. From the physical point of view, a man and a woman have to come together, but it's still the purpose and desire of God as to whether or not you are going to be made and formed in your mother's womb. God's word tells us that he is the Father of all. And the reason that God can say that is because it's God's purpose as to whether or not, and God's will as to whether or not you will be born into this earth or born upon this earth by the will of God. And it is God who opens and closes the womb, and then God forms you, and then you are born. That is seeing God through God's eyes. God bless.